Alaska, a land of stark beauty and merciless cold, stretches endlessly beneath a sky where the northern lights ripple like ghostly curtains. Beneath its icy expanse and towering mountains, secrets fester, secrets whispered by the wind, hidden in the dark woods, and carved into the memories of those who have come face to face with something unspeakable. Tonight, Sinister Smiles brings you 3 true tales from the heart of Alaskan horror, a place where the wilderness itself breeds fear, and something is always out there in the snow. Let us begin with the story of Craig Johnson, a man whose will to survive was tested in ways few can imagine. It was December 2014, and the world lay frozen under the shadow of winter. Craig, an experienced outdoorsman, set out across the remote tundra, his snowmobile carving a lonely path across the ice. The silence of the wild was absolute, broken only by the distant cry of a raven, the crunching of snow under rubber treads. He knew the dangers, every Alaskan does, but confidence is no shield against fate. That day, the ice betrayed him. With no warning, the snowmobile crashed through into frigid water, the engine sputtering and dying. Craig scrambled from the wreckage, his breath already clouding in the sub-zero air. Alone, miles from civilization, and soaked to the skin, he knew hypothermia would come swiftly. The nearest help was hours away on foot, and the sun was sinking below the horizon, bleeding the last of its warmth into the endless, indifferent night. He dragged himself onto the ice, shivering uncontrollably, searching for shelter. And as the temperature dropped, the wilderness came alive in ways he had never experienced. The wind howled and shadows shifted. Then, Craig noticed something moving at the edge of his vision, a flicker of black against the white. A wolverine, its eyes burning with hungry intelligence, emerged from the darkness. Wolverines are rare, savage, and almost mythic in their ferocity, and this one seemed to be stalking him. Each time Craig moved, it followed at a distance, circling just out of reach. He built a crude shelter from broken branches and huddled inside, clutching a makeshift spear. The wolverine prowled closer, silent except for the crunch of snow under its paws. Its breath steamed in the moonlight. Hunger gleamed in its gaze. For 3 days, Craig endured. He rationed his last scraps of food, fought off sleep, and kept a watchful eye on the creature that seemed to grow bolder with every passing hour. Helicopters passed overhead, their searchlights slicing through the gloom, but none saw him. Each time hope flickered, it was snuffed out by the cold and the knowledge that something feral was waiting in the night, watching. On the 3rd night, delirious from exhaustion and cold, Craig awoke to the sound of scratching outside his shelter. The wolverine was inches from his face, separated only by a thin wall of branches. Its claws scraped at the wood, its snout pressed against the gaps, seeking entry. Craig jabbed at it with his spear, driving it away for the moment, but he knew it was only a matter of time. At dawn, rescue finally arrived. A distant whirring of rotors, a shout, and the sudden warmth of human presence. Craig was saved, but the terror of those nights, the feeling of being hunted, the certainty that something was out there in the snow, would never leave him. Alaska had shown him its true face, and it was not forgiving. Our second tale draws us deeper into darkness, into the realm of legend and the supernatural. In Alaska, the line between reality and nightmare is thin, and nowhere is this more true than in the haunted forests near Thomas Bay. Locals call it the Bay of Death, and for generations whispers have told of the Kushtaka, the otter people. The Kushtaka are no ordinary animals. In the shadowed beliefs of the Tlingit people, these shape-shifting beings lurk in the fog, half human and half otter, with gleaming black eyes and a hunger for souls. They mimic the cries of women and children, luring the unwary into the water, where they steal away lives, leaving behind only silence and ripples. One of the most infamous encounters occurred in 1900, when a gold prospector ventured into the forests of Thomas Bay, drawn by tales of untapped riches. The woods were dense, the undergrowth thick and tangled, a labyrinth of shadows beneath a sky heavy with mist. He had heard the stories, but greed dulled his caution. On the third night of his expedition, while camped beside a cold stream, he was awakened by a sound that chilled his blood. A child's voice, faint and pleading, carrying through the trees. Against his better judgment, he followed, his lantern casting trembling shapes on the moss. The voice led him deeper into the woods, until he saw them, a pack of creatures, their eyes reflecting the light, their bodies twisting between otter and human. They moved with unnatural grace, circling him, chittering in languages he could not understand. Panic seized him. He fled, crashing through brush and bramble, the Kushtaka in pursuit. Their cries echoed around him, a cacophony of grief and malice. At the edge of the forest he stumbled, falling to his knees, and the voices faded. He scrambled back to camp and at dawn abandoned his quest for gold. He swore never to return, and his haunted eyes told the tale better than any words. Others who have ventured into Thomas Bay since have reported similar horrors. Whispers in the night, glimpses of shifting forms, a feeling of being watched by something that is not quite human. These stories endure, passed from parent to child, as warnings. Do not wander the woods after dark. Do not answer the cries from the water, and never doubt that the Kushtaka are real. The forests of Alaska hold secrets, and some are best left undisturbed. The third and final tale takes us to a place where the past refuses to stay buried. Deep in the heart of Alaska, near the tiny town of McCarthy, stands the ruined Kennecott copper mine, a relic of the 19th century, once a bustling hive of industry, now a skeletal ghost town. When the mine closed, its workers abandoned it, leaving behind empty buildings, rusted machinery, and something that would not let go. In the years that followed, locals and adventurous hikers reported strange phenomena. Tombstones along the hiking trails would vanish overnight, only to reappear miles away. The wind carried the sound of children's laughter and cries, though no living soul could be found. Sometimes, hikers would discover their gear moved or missing, as if seized by invisible hands. In the 1990s, a group of developers tried to breathe new life into the ghost town. They arrived with optimism, armed with tools and blueprints, determined to restore Kennecott to its former glory. But the mine had other ideas. Workers spoke of cold spots, sudden drafts, and the feeling of being watched. Tools vanished from locked rooms, lights flickered inexplicably, and shadows moved where no one stood. One worker, a skeptic, laughed off the stories until the night he was alone in the old hospital. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of dust and rusted iron. He heard a soft giggle echo down the hall. A child, impossibly. He followed the sound, his flashlight trembling in his grip. Doors slammed shut behind him, trapping him in darkness. When he finally escaped, his face was pale, and he refused to return. Others saw fleeting shapes darting between the buildings, caught in the corner of their eyes. Some spoke of poltergeist-like disturbances, tools thrown across rooms, footsteps in empty corridors, voices whispering in the walls. The phenomena became so frequent, so unsettling, that the redevelopment was abandoned. Kennicott remains a shell, its secrets intact, its ghosts unquiet. The locals avoid the mine after sunset, and hikers pass by in silence, casting nervous glances at the skeletal structures. The children's voices are still heard, sometimes at night, sometimes at dawn, echoing across the empty fields. The restless souls of Kennicott are a reminder that history never truly dies in Alaska. It lingers, hungry for attention. 3 stories, 3 faces of Alaskan horror. The wilderness, indifferent and vast, is a crucible where survival is not guaranteed. The legends, old as the ice, remind us that not everything in the woods is what it seems. The ghost towns and ruins whisper of the past, of lives lost, and memories that refuse to fade. What is it about Alaska that breeds such terror? Maybe it's the endless isolation, the knowledge that help is never close. Maybe it's the land itself, ancient and wild, where the rules of civilization mean nothing, and the old fears walk free. Or maybe it's something deeper, a sense that in the snow and the silence, we are closer to the edge, closer to the darkness that waits just beyond the firelight. When you walk alone beneath the northern lights, when you hear the wind whispering through the trees, remember Craig Johnson, whose ordeal proved that even the strongest can be hunted. Recall the gold prospector, forever changed by the gaze of the Kushtaka, and think of the workers in Kennicott, driven away by echoes of the dead. For in Alaska, something is always out there in the snow, watching, waiting, and sometimes, if you listen closely, you can hear it calling your name. Sleep well if you can. Sinister smiles will be waiting with more tales from the shadows. For in the far north, the night is long, and the darkness is never empty.